Tales from the Riverbank, Episode 3. I'm very important. I'm very important, partly because I'm about to make a lot of unfounded and scarcely believable generalizations, but mostly because I've invented a new word. Importantocracy. Well, as far as I know, it's a new word. Certainly my spell check's never heard of it. Mind you, it's never heard of ontological phenomenology either, apparently. So, if I wasn't as important as I am, I could be wrong. Before I came to France, I had some strange misconceptions about who was important and who wasn't. These, I've discovered, were fallaciously based on interrelated indicators such as fame, money, power, contribution to society, intelligence, expertise, etc. In England, if you've never been on the telly, earn £12,000 a year delivering leaflets, go home after work rather than helping out in the soup kitchen, think the earth revolves around the sun, can't strip the engine of an Austin Allegro, you know that you're not doing very well in the Barclays Importance Premier League. That's what I used to think. But as Lenin predicted they would, recently the scales have fallen away from my eyes, leaving me to see society as it really is, as well as a bit of a nasty mess in the sink. Because here in France, everybody is important. And if I hadn't suddenly become extremely important myself, I'd be annoyed for not having realized this sooner. It's completely revolutionized my life. Now, on my way to work in the morning, I can cycle along the pavement, go through red lights, ride the wrong way up a one-way street, and knock 5 minutes off my journey time. On the way home, I can pull out onto the roundabout without looking, elbow the wing mirror of each car queuing at the tram crossing, cut straight across the grass in the park, and get home in time for Doctor Who. I don't even need to use my lights anymore when I go out in the evening. Not only does being important save valuable time and batteries, it's fantastically liberating. And that's not all. Citizens of an importantocracy really love going to work, because however lowly your position, however lacking your performance, you're still important. You can tell your boss to stick the report that you should have finished last week up his in tray. Never mind his report, you've got important things to be getting on with. Going home early? Got to get past the boss's office on the way out? No problem. Walk right in there and tell him if you don't leave right this minute, you're going to miss the sales at Galeries Lafayette completely. And the beauty is your boss won't say no because he accepts your importance as a thing in itself, not in relation to his own importance. You are an individual. You have your own sense of what matters, and he respects this. And that's why, in an importantocracy, individuals can happily coexist alongside one another by doing what's important for them without having to worry about what's important for other people. My students, for example, know they can spend the whole lesson texting each other because I'm busy doing my own important thing at the front of the class behind my important desk. They certainly wouldn't waste their time like English kids do, getting angry and shouting out, "Who do you think you are?" when you tell them to put their phones away. French students don't need to ask who you think you are. They know who you are. You're them, Mr. Important, and you're entitled to say whatever you like, however ridiculous it might be. Mutually assured importance. It's the ultimate deterrent against classroom unpleasantness and other forms of social breakdown, and the cornerstone of France's egalitarianism. From the outside, all this might seem like arrogance. It's not. Citizens of an importantocracy don't think they're more important than other people. It's not because the waiter thinks he's more important than you that he walks straight past instead of saying good evening and showing you to a table. It's not feelings of superiority that drive the sales assistant to wander off while you're talking to him. They'll be back. They're just exercising their right to be importantly individual. Relax. Think important thoughts. There are limits, though. Last week, for example, our neighbour from the 4th floor came home tired and emotional at 3 o'clock in the morning and kicked a hole in the glass entrance door. Then spent the next 2 hours running up and down the stairs shouting, "Claude! Claude!" until the police arrived. This is an example of being over-important, and as such is not to be tolerated. As everybody recognizes over-importance when they see it, you're obliged, like our neighbour from the 4th floor was, to apologize. You don't have to say it was your fault, obviously, but you do have to say you're sorry. It's the same with the instances of car burning and handbag shop looting that break out from time to time here. This is people being very over-important, to the extent that the French authorities are obliged to send in the riot police to remind us that in an importantocracy, everyone, including the CRS, is equally important. An illuminating feature of the importantocracy is the position of the mistake. I used to think that the way to deal with a mistake was to identify it, find out who did it and why, agree a way to stop it happening again, and then go and have lunch. This was a mistake. Although, and this is a bit tricky, now that I've gained revolutionary consciousness, I've never, ever believed that that was the way to deal with mistakes. That was somebody else entirely. In an importantocracy, the correct way to deal with a mistake is to completely deny it, even in the teeth of quite obvious evidence against you. Consequently, I've been hard at work learning the French for "that's not my signature." "You told me to do that, don't you remember?" And my favourite, "I think there's been a misunderstanding." Why is this? It's not just because important people don't make mistakes. It's a lot more nuanced than that. It's because admitting you've made a mistake opens the door to accusations of doing the wrong thing, when all everybody is doing is their own thing. And although our new neighbours are quick to point the finger, the last thing they want is for the woman on the 4th floor to say, "Yep, that broken window, that was my fault. I don't know what I was thinking." That's subversive. That's denying the principle of the individual's right to act as she or he sees fit. Any more of that, and the government will have to declare a state of emergency. The importantocratic approach to the mistake, like the approach to the highway code, classroom discipline, and customer service, works because of the shared fundamental sense of what is right and what is wrong. Madame Jourdain knows that Madame Dupont, despite the hysterical screaming, will not actually set fire to her car or steal her handbag because they're both having to stay behind after work to sort out the pig's ear that Madame Jourdain denies having made of this month's accounts. Car burning and handbag theft are wrong. Everybody knows that. What's more, perhaps the most important thing, Madame Dupont and Madame Jourdain are good colleagues. They enjoy each other's company. Like millions of people all over France, they kiss each other in the morning. They have lunch together. In the evening, they console each other after every episode in the endless series of national sporting failures. They're not about to let a little thing like a dispute over a few figures get in the way of enjoying together the things that collectively make France great. Cycling, high levels of productivity, academic excellence, food, wine, and Zinedine Zidane. In an importantocracy like France, liberté, égalité, and fraternité mean something. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got lots of important things to be getting on with. Vive la République!